Yeah, guys, it's Beast, back with some more Beastly content. Today we're going to be covering everything that was announced in the New Year's live stream. Just going to cover it, kind of explain it a little bit. Also, day 3 or 4 of the Christmas giveaways. So the code today is just giveaway. Write the word giveaway down below. 3 codes today, 2 of them are going to be a battle pass, 1's a metal pass. Let's get on into this video. So the first thing they covered, and this is going to be what our first new air quote season of the year is, and what it is really is a revamp. So Visional wheel is what it's called, and what it does is it changes core gameplay mechanics, loot mechanics. Enemies are going to be modified. They're going to be morphed enemies, which creates this like morphed effect. They showed like an example of a wolf or something. Every wheel refresh is going to be bringing new weapon releases during these Visional wheels, so we will be getting new weapons during these Visional wheel seasons. The first Visional wheel season is on January 16th, guys. So the way it looks like is when your Way of Winter or your Man of His server ends, you might just want to go play a Prison Burst Clash, because that's the shortest scenario, and it's actually timed out perfectly, at least for me, to where I would be able to join day 1 of the Visional Wheel Season 1. So we're going to see about that. Also, server exit cards are only like 30 days now. That was just part of like a patch thing. So you will actually be able to leave like any scenario you join, and with the new StarChrome system, it doesn't really matter what scenario you join. But if you've never done a Prison vs. Clash, it is a way to get specific deviations you may not have. Basically, any scenario you haven't done, you need to go do for specific deviations you may want, as well as recipes and other things like that. But that's not what this is about. Once again, more on the Visional Wheel. Something called a Blood Moon will happen during Visional Wheel seasons. This will cause morphed enemies to spawn and metas to also enter this twilight sort of state thing. And what this is going to do is cause metas to constantly gain pollution, constantly sanity dropping. The only way to survive this is going to be continuing to kill more and more enemies. Looks like loot's going to be increased on it. You're going to be getting good loot from the enemies, and another thing to mention is the higher your sanity actually is, the more loot you're going to be receiving from doing these Blood Moon areas. It's going to be little like spots that are Blood Moon areas. You go in there and you combat a crap ton of enemies, get a ton of loot, and the more sanity you have, the more loot you're going to get, but also the more of a chance you could die and drop some of that good old loot. We'll see how it works out. It does sound very fun, actually, and I do think it's a good way to tide us over, and I think it's better that the devs take more time to prepare for the future scenarios than releasing a half-finished broken scenario like they did in Way of Winter. So those of you complaining about no new scenarios yet, Visional Wheel is going to hold us over, I promise you. This sounds very much fun. If you enjoy this game, you're going to love a Visional Wheel server or scenario, and it actually sounds like we're going to be able to play either a Way of Winter or a Man Abyss or any other scenario currently out of the 4. Granted, some are PvP. But regardless, another thing to mention on the Visional Wheel. Now, I'm not sure on this one coming out on the 16th or if it's going to be part of the second season of the Visional Wheel. There are going to be unique Morphed Deviations and these strange red crystals, which are going to be dropping from mystical crates, which are also going to be spawning in these Blood Moon areas, which are going to be giving us these strange red crystals as well as Morphed Deviations. Morphed Deviations are basically going to be another form of shiny deviations. Like I said, there's morphed enemies. Deviations are also going to have this morphed form, so you'll be able to get like a morphed form of a Digby or something. Morphed Digby sounds lit, guys. I gotta say that right now. I cannot wait to get a morphed Digby. But aside from that, strange red crystals. These will actually be used to craft exclusive territory decorations. Exclusive territory decorations you can only get in a Visional Wheel season. Sounds like something to farm for, guys, and sounds like something to do to me. So during first Visional Wheel change, 3 new weapons will be added. These 3 new weapons are, and we're going to list them off and talk about what they do. At least this is what they told us about them. So, first one, Terminal Pulse. It's a crossbow with Power Surge. So, basically, absorbs deviated particles into orb lightning attacks. This sounds straight out of Fallout 76, being OP Tesla rifle builds left and right. Cannot wait for this thing. Sounds very nice, but it is a crossbow. We'll see how the ammo system works. It's a very interesting weapon. If it's going to be like shoot an arrow, reload, shoot an arrow, reload, I don't know how that's going to work out. But maybe if you have like 8 arrows you can rapid fire off. We will see. It sounds very interesting. The next one is Primal Rage. It's an SMG. And all they told us about it was you can expend HP to fire reserve ammo under certain conditions. That's all they told us about it. So spin to ammo to fire from reserve ammo, even though we have mods that allow us to instantly reload our clip every single time we get 2 kills off. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. We'll see how Primal Rage turns out. And the last one's called Hazardous Object. Now, it looks like a pistol, but here's the only thing they told us about Hazardous Object. The only thing the guy said is a unique hand grenade. And then he said, okay, and they were on to the next subject. This was a very short dev stream, guys, but it covered a lot of information, and I'm sure a lot of you were left confused, so that's why I'm doing this video, trying to clarify some things here. So, Way of Winter Part 2. They talked about doing updates to Way of Winter. They wanted to add, like, more in-game stuff, so let's go ahead and get on to this. So, more gameplay elements involving the temperature mechanic are going to be added. Apparently, in the dev stream, they said it should be ready in the first half of 2025. However, at the end of the dev stream, they actually released this thing called the Annual Dev Plan. It's like just a picture with like all the time stamps. And the earliest it said the Way of Winter optimizations would go live is possibly May to June for early access and July to September for the full release. I'm thinking this picture, they just gave themselves plenty of time for these releases to happen. But from the looks of it, it looks like Way of Winter, 2 other scenarios, which we haven't even talked about yet, the 2 new PvE scenarios coming in 2025. All are slated for the same release times for early access and full release. However, I mean, no, it is like a couple months period of time, so hopefully they're not right at the same time, because it'd be infuriating as a content creator to have them release 2 scenarios at the same time. I'm sure all other content creators feel the same way as me about that. They better release these like one after the other in order, not here's 3 different things that you could be covering content over. Way of Winter has new missions and stuff to do. And, you know, I don't know. Anyway, let's continue on, guys. Let's get on into the first new PvE scenario they did talk about. Once again, new scenario, codename Purification was the first one they talked about. And they said it's going to be a constant polluted area in all areas. But, and I don't know if it's going to be all areas, if it's going to be like zone areas like everything else. And they said vary in different pollution zones, but is that pollution zones, or is that each region's going to have its own pollution zone with its own effect? And are these effects going to be changing? We don't know, but regardless, there's going to be pollution zone areas with different effects that are going to be happening, that are going to cause some sort of things. Your decisions will matter in the ending of this scenario, guys. So from the sounds of it, and especially from the sounds of like the 10-day server that we're going to talk about, there's a 10-day scenario coming up for the PvPers out there, guys. 10 days, that sounds hype. I would actually play PvP if it's a 10-day long server. I mean, it just sounds nuts. But yeah, so basically multiple endings of the scenario for codename Purification, as well as a PvP one. We'll be covering in a minute. Once again, jump the horse layer a little bit. We're not on that point yet. Another PvE scenario under the works, though, guys, is codename Deviation. Now, codename Purification sounds like the primary scenario. Codename Deviation sounds like a blast of a scenario, guys. So, if you hear this and you hear the name Codename Deviation, you go, what? That sounds like Pokemon to me. And it does sound like Pokemon, or maybe Digimon. Regardless, distribution of deviations and capture methods integrated into the core elements of the environment. What that means is the default way deviations work, and the default way you capture and find deviations will not be the same in this scenario. What it sounds like to me is there are going to be tall grass areas where you're walking in and, oh my god, a random encounter with a deviation has spawned. What deviation will you choose to battle? This is Pokemon. This is nuts, and it sounds like a blast, guys. But it honestly sounds like more like Digimon, and let's get on to this now. So, I'm sorry, we're getting a little excited here. Let's talk about what they said here. So, like I said, basically, capture methods. Sounds like there's going to be Pokeballs and tall grass in this. It sounds like we're going to have Pokeballs in this scenario. Ability to raise deviations. This means, like, leveling them up and stuff. They also covered something very interesting to me. They said there's going to become the ability to fuse deviations into new and fantastic variations. My idea would be, like, maybe take a Digby Boy and a Paper Doll, or maybe a Paper Doll and an H37 and see how much materials they'd give back to you. Sorry, storage batteries rotted my brain out. Stardust source is everything. But apparently, something about fusing deviations with objects was also mentioned. The lady in the dev stream actually just said, imagine fusing a Mr. Wish with a chair. And then they just went on with the stream. Once again, what are they talking about there? I don't understand. Like, is this like some max steel? It's gonna like go turbo, and our deviations are gonna fuse with like some random crap out there. I don't know. I don't understand why they even would want a system where you can fuse your deviation with a chair. Like, oh, that's my deviation over there. Or maybe it's like you fuse them together and then your deviation is like the shape of a chair. And even once then, why would you want that? Dude, guys, comment down below if you want this, guys. If this sounds like the hypest feature in the dev stream that you've heard about so far, because I do not want to be fusing my deviation with my chair, my couch, my anything. I don't know why you'd want to. But let's continue. So, core gameplay will be about deviation battles, guys. So, yes, we're going to be raising our deviations and sending them out into battle. Now, the battle system, from what it sounds like, is you're going to create a lineup of deviations to battle against other players. They said in order to win the battle, the best way to become the strongest is, of course, to train up your deviations. Go out and train your deviations. You're probably just going to have to take your deviation and go out and throw them out into battle and have them battle in other deviations to level them up. And that's going to be the grind of the season. And it sounds like an absolute blast, mainly because I love Pokemon. And I think if you love Pokemon, this scenario sounds like for you. Unfortunately, this scenario is slated for Q3 of 2025, aka sometime in between July to September. Once again, this time slate is for both code purification and code deviation. Do keep in mind these times are subject to change. All these are just time slates. They've given themselves a ton of time here when they say Q3 for all of these scenarios. Honestly, if they get any of these scenarios done early, and they get them early access out early, and they're like, okay, this is really good, it's really tested, I would not be surprised if some of these scenarios come out way before Q3, just because they're just giving themselves a large time gate here, guys. It's them telling us and promising us guaranteed stuff they can deliver, and that's awesome, guys. And for those of you saying like, oh, new scenarios right now, that's terrible. Look, Wave Wonder's not that old, and the whole game's not that old. Some games have had the same map for like 8 years and they're doing fine. So as long as they release new content to play and reasons to play the game, that really needs to be the focus over new scenarios. Because I don't think this game's really a linear story at all. It doesn't feel linear story to me, honestly, but let's get on into the PvP scenario. So, fixes to Evolution's Call is added to, like, their list of plans to do. They're mainly going to focus on, like, stronghold conquest being, like, more prominent or something like that. And PvP intensity, they're wanting to actually like go up as the phases go on. As for Prism versus Clash, they wanted to do something about the one-sided faction wars, where players will actually be able to turn the battle when they're losing and actually pull up. And when you start on a server losing in Prism versus Clash, you're pretty much guaranteed to lose at the end of Prism versus Clash. Right, so that's what they're trying to stop there. But anti-cheat system is going to be implemented in the Prism versus Clash. This is going to be meant to stop players from, one, using cheats, two, doing cheaty things like building bases you can't destroy because they're built into the ground and they glitched it in there or something, that type of cheaty stuff, they're trying to stop that. So the other thing is there is a new PvP scenario coming. It is called Code Broken. It's only going to be a 10-day long scenario. Apparently the entire map is going to be an unrestricted PvP zone, less focus on the normal grind, aside from, of course, you're still going to have to go out and gather materials to get your gear crafted up, get your base built, get ready to be going out there and doing some raids on other people's territory. Once again, this scenario is only 10 days long, guys. You'll either love it or you'll hate it. And if you love it, good news, because this is also going to be having the multiple ending system. Now, once again, from the sounds of the multiple ending system, and the gameplay they showed, it looks like it's not going to be a player-based ending, but instead a server-based ending based upon the server's choices. Same probably with the other scenario. We will see in the future to know for sure, but the way it looks to me is it's going to be a server-based ending. So it's up to your entire server to get the ending you want. Craziness, guys. But once again, they're going to be adding airdrops in this PvP scenario, actually. And these airdrops will actually, they mentioned something about the airdrops actually containing material to craft what are going to be craftable super weapons. Now, another one of the devs in the stream said that super weapons can apparently be dismantled by other players. They said if you can build them, they can be torn down. So it sounds like to me it's going to be a territory-built super weapon that other players are going to be able to raid your territory for and tear your super weapon down to try and stop you from nuking the crap out of them. It sounds like we're going to be able to build like a nuke silo and nuke other players is what it sounds like. This sounds like we're going to be able to nuke other players like it's Fallout 76 up in here, guys. And multiple endings to a 10-day long scenario. Once again, how many endings? 4 or 5? We don't really know. But regardless, I think I might play this. I mean, honestly, probably not, because it depends on how PvE is. If PvPE really is going to be as dry as it kind of sounds, even though the Visional wheel sounds very, very nice, and the other scenarios, it seems like we're going to have like a semi-dry spell until the new scenarios release. But they are still releasing other content for you to be playing, even if you are a PvE player, and reasons to play the other scenarios again, such as the new Visional Wheel Season version, which sounds a lot different from hard mode. It's not entirely about being difficult, it's about the amount of loot you're going to be getting is going to go up. There's going to be unique deviations to collect, such as the Morphed Deviations, all kind of other great things. Now, one other final thing I wanted to get on here was just a quick little talking point of, they mentioned there's going to be a new like early access server system where it's going to be 2 months before the official release of a scenario. It's going to enter into the early access server system. So they didn't clarify. They said we would all be able to play it and play test it, but they didn't clarify if it was going to be open or closed play testing. So it sounds like open playtesting for scenarios, which I'm not sure how that's going to do, because then players are going to have 2 months access to the game early, and if every player just decides to play on the early access server, then the full release is going to be like, this isn't new at all, man, except for the advertised players. So I don't know. It's going to be very interesting. I don't know if I'd even want to play on the early access server aside from creating content, which is why I will have to play on the early access server unless it's a limited closed test sort of thing where I can't get access anyway. But the mobile official release is April 2025, guys. So in April of 2025, you're going to be playing this game on mobile. They even said they're going to try and make it cross-platform. Not try. This is going to be cross-platform. So you'll be able to play with your PC friends on your phone. You'll be able to play with your phone friends on your PC, guys. And even if you play on PC, just take it over to mobile when you're on the go and play some more Once Human. I mean, I know this game is addicting and all, but maybe they shouldn't be making it where it can go on our phones as well, because that just doesn't sound good. So, middle point of the video, we're going to go ahead and give out the first 1K star code from the stream. So here it is on screen now. Let's get on into the second half of this video. So, they said that they wanted to do more updates to Eternaland. So, January 16th, escape room components are coming to Eternaland. This will allow you to build escape rooms. They even said that one of the components will allow you to create an enemy spawn point, so it almost sounds like players will be able to create their own Super Mario Maker style levels, to where you can play through and try and get to the end and beat all the enemies and go through the puzzles, clear the puzzles, all sorts of stuff. It sounds amazing, and I cannot wait to see what sort of Eternaland's creations come out of this after the January 16th update, which, speaking of, doesn't sound like a small update either. We will be seeing how that works out on January 16th, but in March, there's going to be new shooting minigame building components where you'll be able to build PvP or PvE minigames. They did cover this while talking about Eternaland, but if this is a craftable item that's buildable in the normal world, and I don't see why they wouldn't do this, it'd be very nice to still be able to build these sort of things in your normal territory in your actual server as well. They also said that racing and party minigame components are in the works, but no official date or anything like that on when those are actually going to be coming. They could be coming in March as well, but most likely a lot later than March. We will see, though. A racing or minigame component would be very, very cool. I'd love to build a racetrack sort of thing in Eternaland, but we will see. More building incentives and features are coming in the future outside of what I just mentioned. So once again, building incentives, reasons to build. I mean, it sounds interesting there, but we will see. They didn't really do much. Once again, this was kind of like a vague stream where they covered a lot, but, you know, still left you with a lot of questions of what is coming, though. So, Path of Dawn bounties added to the shop. We'll see. I'm not going to talk about this anymore. It's paid DLC in the shop. But apparently, for a limited time, it's going to be discounted at 1 coin per bounty. But apparently, it's paid DLC that, from the sounds of it, they're calling it bounties. They're challenge bounties. So, from the sounds of it, it's going to be like We'll see once the update's actually live and maintenance is over, but I don't know about this. We'll see. Let's get on to the next thing. So, during January 16th season, Blood Moon will feature a quest line, and it's going to be a quest line that's going to invite us to join Great Conflict or something like that. So what it sounds like is going to be another one of those little teaser quests that's going to tease us up until... It's going to tease us all the way up until the new scenario. So apparently it's probably going to tease like the next new big bad guy. Speaking of, with the whole fact that they're going to be updating Way of Winter and adding more in-game content to do, they better give us defeat of Igna before they show us the next big bad guy. Because I swear, if we go on to the next big bad guy and the last thing we seen of Igna was basically him going, well, see you later, guys, and disappearing off of our screens, I'm going to be furious, because what the heck was even the point of Igna to begin with? The Chaos Weavers, like, is that our big bad guy in Way of Winter? Is the Chaos Weavers not Igna himself? Like, am I confused there? Is that what it is? But let's continue on. So, another thing they said that was really vague, one of them said that apparently a snake-like hunter lurks in the shadows waiting for us in 2025. Sounds like more teasing of the future big baddie once again. Hopefully that quest line that's going to be taking place, like, there's a letter apparently you can collect during the Blood Moon on the vision wheel sort of scenario, right? And it's going to invite us to that quest line. So we'll see how that turns out. We'll see if the Snake-like Hunter is the same guy in the Blood Moon, or if it's two different guys. New Architect-style packs are coming, guys. So, you know, like the glass pack, we got those other packs. Apparently there's like 2 more ones coming. They said them specifically in the stream, but I don't really care because they're going to be $50 packs a piece. So, you know, it's up to you. If you like the Architect building stuff that much and you're willing to pay for stuff, go right on ahead. Just know there's 2 more packs coming for you to pay for if you want to. So another thing they said was there's a possibility of a V makeover. I'm assuming this includes like V's menus, systems, and everything, and probably even adding some like more gameplay elements to V. But I'm wondering if also maybe this continues to like also count as like V himself. His appearance. And I wonder if maybe he's going to stay a bird forever, or if he'll take a human physical form. Another thing I wanted to mention is they wanted to create like a constantly changing environment, is what they said. That's why they're doing the Visional wheel thing. So hopefully there's going to be like changes to the actual like scenarios, map, and everything, where there'll be regions that'll be different or like destroyed and things like that. They said they wanted to make it like a dynamic environment where it will change as the story changes. So should be very, very interesting. I do believe that's about all to cover over what was announced in the New Year's live stream. I'm gonna leave that little like roadmap they posted at the end of the stream up just at the end of the video here. One final thing is that other 1K Star Crom code is on screen right now. So there you go. There's all 2,000 of the Star Crom given out during the stream. And that's everything that they covered and mentioned in the stream. Once again, a lot of information, but they barely shown us like anything. So, you know. But I'm going to see you guys later. Go ahead and leave a like on the video if you did enjoy it. And keep it beast mode.